Seid gegrüßt, ihr Helden. Wahrscheinlich höre ich mich ein bisschen anders an, weil das Video relativ spontan aufgenommen wird. Es ist kein Witz, das ist eine ganz große, fette Warnung an euch alle. Und zwar, das Collectors Edition Book von Tears of the Kingdom ist geleakt worden. Jetzt 3 Monate vor Release quasi schon. In Japan. Die Bilder kursieren jetzt rum. Natürlich könnte ich jetzt die krassesten Zelda-Videos machen, neue Theorien etc. Aber ich möchte euch an der Stelle einfach nur warnen. Seid vorsichtig mit den Inhalten, die ihr jetzt auf YouTube konsumiert oder auf Twitter oder sonst wo. Es sind sehr viele Bilder, sie zeigen sehr krasse Sachen. Und ich werde euch an der Stelle jetzt einmal kurz mitteilen, ich werde keine Videos diesbezüglich machen, die irgendwie mit dem Artbook zu tun haben. Weil, auch wenn da nicht ganz krasse Spoiler sind, da ist doch schon einiges Extremes drin. Und das werde ich hier auf dem Kanal nicht zeigen. Ihr werdet hier also noch spoilerfrei bleiben. Ich werde hier keine Klicks abgreifen. Ich möchte euch einfach nur noch mal warnen, damit ihr euch den Spielspaß nicht verderbt. Und ich werde ihn euch auch nicht verderben, nur um irgendwelche Klicks zu generieren. Okay, das war's schon. Ich gehe jetzt schlafen. Gute Nacht euch allen. Oder auch einen guten Tag.
Today, we're going to be finding out what would happen in Breath of the Wild if I gave Link a gun. As always, if you want to see guns added to more games they shouldn't be in, please subscribe, and a huge shoutouts to Lintenzo and Echo Collat for making them up.
So, Tears of the Kingdom has leaked. Yeah. Hello everyone, Zeno here. Today I bring some pretty distressing news, honestly. Which is that the art book for the Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition has apparently gotten out into the wild somehow. A whole lot of information about the game's story, mechanics, all kinds of junk is apparently out there. I've not looked at it yet. I really intend not to. I don't know how possible that will be for someone in my position where, you know, I talk about this stuff on the internet. I have access to like all these videos related to Zelda, and I'm gonna get comments from people, and it's just gonna be really hard to like control that, of course. But like, I just wanted to give an update video, just kind of talking about this a little bit, and also apologizing for the lack of videos and stuff I've been making since the Direct. Honestly, mental health hasn't been great lately. This doesn't help either. Like, this was another blow to my mood today, honestly. Which is just a shame, but like, you know, what are you gonna do? So let's talk about the fallout from this. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna look at the leaks? Am I gonna talk about any of them? My current plan is no. If at some point I do get spoiled and I decide, okay, I am gonna talk about some of the leaks in a video or something before release, you're gonna find like 15 million spoiler warnings before we even start that video. So like, do not worry about that, guys. I will be very, very careful to respect everyone on that. I don't want to be spoiled. I don't want to spoil anyone else, honestly. I also want to ask, I guess, for your guys.
enjoy the video. I mean, at this point, I might as well just get started. We're gonna be playing Breath of the Wild, and it's gonna be completely normal. See, it's a normal playthrough. I'm doing everything as you would expect. We're getting my Chica slate, as you do. Okay. So we got a weapon. Oh, gee. Yeah, we have a gun now, and we're gonna be beating Breath of the Wild. I haven't played this game in a while, so this should be pretty helpful with being able to beat the game, I would think. He's using it to block the sun. Master Sword been real quiet since this new weapon dropped. Man, there's just something about Link running and there just being a massive handgun on his back. We'll see how this goes. Can I shoot the man? Where's an enemy at? Let's see what this can do. Oh wait, never mind. There's more. All right. Yeah, that's pretty effective. Behind you. It's so stupid. Jeez, he went flying. Those poor bokoblins. Oh no, oh no, misfire there. I gotta be careful with this thing. I think there were arrows in there.
Hey everyone, we have a massive leak for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. This was definitely not expected this weekend. I'm going to warn you right now. There are massive spoilers, or at least potential spoilers, because we don't have the translations. You'll understand why that matters in a moment. But let's just say this leak is beyond what I expected to happen at this point, this early. We aren't even sure how it happened, but it's almost impossible for this to be fake. That being said, before I get into it, I want to remind you that we are on our road to 100,000 subscribers, and if we hit 100K before Tears of the Kingdom, or I should say by the time Tears of the Kingdom comes out, we will be actually giving away a collector's edition of Tears of the Kingdom. That's right, you get that steelbook, those pins, that metal poster, and yes, that glorious art book. That's right, folks, so why not hit that subscribe button and help us on our journey to 100,000 subscribers. Now, it's actually kind of funny that we are doing that giveaway, because today we have a leak of the art book itself. That's right, the art book has hit the internet. We're not even sure how this happened. It's been gathered up from a billion different Reddit posts. I'm referencing Nintendo Everything for this, linked down to their stuff below, although we'll put all the images right here in it. And let's just start off our very first image. We got about 51 images out of a 52-page book. And here's the thing. We see Link here in his garb. We've sort of seen something similar to this before with the more winter-style boots. Nothing really too shocking in that photo. Don't want to spend a ton of time on that one. On the next one, however, we get a shot at something that looks brand new. Some sort of suit looks like Link wears. Looks like it's strapped to him in various ways with a bird mask. And this could be something that he gets to glide with, sort of like a body glider suit. You know, we have those in our world, so this could be the inspiration. Obviously, it looks very Rito inspired, so there is that. And we'll get another look at this again later, but that looks really, really interesting. Next up, we have a look at a fish. I don't know if this is a new type of fish. I'm sorry that I don't remember, like, every single model of fish in Breath of the Wild, so this could be new, could not be new. I'm not sure. And again, we don't know what the text itself says because it's not in English or in a more easily translatable language like Spanish or something. This looks like it came from China or Japan. You'll see here that we got looks like a frog, we got some seagulls, and then I don't know, this is like one of those chicken birds, but like upgraded and looking really awesome. Reminds me of some sort of cartoon, but anyways, not that excited. Here we go. We get to see remember those stone taluses, step taluses that had the bokoblin on top. We get to see some art of that. We already seen that in the game, so this so far isn't big spoilers beyond the glider suit. What we do see here are some aspects of the paraglider, right? So we see, you know, the bird style front, some of the material. Maybe there's some specific details for why this stuff matters, but again, we can't read the descriptions. I'm sure we'll have details on the descriptions as the week goes on. Here's one that's interesting, going down a tunnel that looks like a temple of sorts. This does look like it might be up in the sky just because of the clouds we're seeing right out the entrance by Link. But this is definitely very, very interesting. It might be indicative of a potential dungeon up there in the sky. Next up, we see just that symbol that we've already seen before that they released when they announced the Collector's Edition. Obviously, that hand is supposed to be like that green hand. We don't have translations of any of the Zonai text or anything at this point, but again, the Zelda, you know, faithful are on it, and we should hopefully have translations here in the next week or two. Next up, we see the look at another type of fish, and we get to look at some of its internals. I'm not sure if these internals are visible on the outside or not, because again, we can't read this text, but it definitely looks really interesting. Next up, we have a closer look at that bird mask, that Rito-style mask that Link was wearing when he was in that glider suit, and obviously an up-close look at Link's face, and really how long his hair is. Like, I know we know his hair is long, but it is extremely long, way longer than it is in Breath of the Wild. Again, we aren't sure what the significance of this mask is yet, but that is something that appears to be in the game. And then we get a further breakdown of the mask, so what's behind it, then all the parts that go onto it, what each individual part means. Maybe we have to assemble and build this mask. I have no idea, since we are seeing it broken down piece by piece. Next up, we see another look at the glider suit and some of the material it's maybe made out of and how it attaches to Link. So that's really, really cool. Again, we're assuming it's a glider suit. We technically don't know, but he is spread eagle like it's a glider suit, so I'm assuming that's what it is. Next up, and this is where we get into major spoiler territory. So we see a new enemy and or potential, if it's not an enemy, then maybe it's just like a new wildlife, but that's not what people are going to jump to. They're going to jump to this person on the right. Who is this person? So this definitely appears to be that mysterious white-robed person from the trailer. Why they're holding the basket with fruit in it, I don't know. We don't know who this is. It definitely doesn't appear to be Zelda. So a lot of those theories that this is Zelda, it doesn't appear to be Zelda, at least any form of Zelda we've ever seen. You can see a lot of the intricate details, and again, because we can't read the text, maybe this text up here says who this person is, but I don't know. Is it a goddess? Is it Hylia? Because we've never technically seen Hylia in person, so is this what this is a representative of? Is Hylia reborn? Don't know, but man, it's not Zelda. That's about all I can say. Looking at this, Zelda doesn't even have these super wide ears like this in Breath of the Wild. So I'm very curious who this character is. And yeah, I told you there's spoilers, guys. We're only on number 13 out of 14. Next up, we got this bad boy. I believe this is just the king of the Rito, right? Like he's still alive, the big boy. I forget what his name is, but there he is. He looks pretty good, pretty ornate and everything. Maybe he's got a bigger role in this game. Here we get a look at some of the modified moblins. So we see, we've seen this helmet one before. Here we see one with like a spiked cactus thing. We also see the horns here. And then we also see whatever this thing is. I'm not sure. But what's interesting is if you look over, the helmet turns into this sort of hammer thing. This turns into some sort of weapon. This turns into some sort of pickaxe. What this seems to confirm is exactly what I reported on exclusively along with Mike Odyssey about a week ago, that we have craftable weapons. That's what this seems to be inferring. You can see all this stuff is little monster parts that we could use to build weapons. So that's really interesting. Have that confirmed. Here we see what I find to be extremely interesting is this more old school style Link with the messed up arm. And we're seeing the eye thing attached to an arrow. So we talked about this as well, is that this was a craftable arrow. So that seems to be confirmed with this looking like an eyeball. But I find it interesting that Link looks like his old school style, more like a Link to the Past or the original Legend of Zelda. I'm not really sure what this design is about because he does have the messed up arm. Could this infer there's some sort of time travel where we're going way back in the Zelda timeline for some reason and getting these old school references to Link? I'm not really sure. But obviously getting the arrow with the eyeball thing confirmed here is definitely very, very interesting. Next up, we see what appears to be one of the sky islands, along with one of those lotus flowers opened up. And I don't know if the lotus flower opened up, if that's like the new like great fairy fountains or something. We're not really sure because this is, again, a dungeon. I have no idea. And obviously this platform here with the tall spike going up, that definitely looks more dungeon-esque, or at least really, really fun enemy camp or something. Or maybe it's a village. Could be like the Rito village could be lifted up to the sky here. So that looks very, very interesting. I can't wait to explore that if it's in the game. I'm assuming most of the stuff is in the game. And here we go. We get some updated art on her. You guys remember who she is. Glad to see that she's still alive and kicking in this game, it looks like. Next up, again, more moblin stuff with more monster parts that clearly become weapons. Could be like the Rito village could be lifted up to the sky here. So that looks very, very interesting. I can't wait to explore that if it's in the game. I'm assuming most of the stuff is in the game. And here we go. We get some updated art on her. You guys remember who she is. Glad to see that she's still alive and kicking in this game, it looks like. Next up, again, more moblin stuff with more monster parts that clearly become weapons. Weapon crafting seems to be very much confirmed yet again. And we're seeing this again with even more crazy designs on some of these moblins. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, sorry, these are Lizalfos. Sorry, moblins. You guys are going to crucify me for that. Lizalfos. But look at these. Look at this, man. This is like a Reaper weapon. I'm surprised this doesn't go on to like a spear. It seems to be a one-handed weapon instead of a spear. But anyways, maybe we can customize what kind of weapon it is as well. Next up, we see what looks like a new enemy type. This is very fascinating. I don't recall seeing this enemy yet. If it is from a prior Zelda game, I would appreciate if someone could correct me and show me. It does remind me of a design from a certain game. Is it Minish Cap? I can't remember. So maybe this is a former enemy in Zelda, but right off the top of my head, I'm not remembering. It's definitely new to, obviously, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And again, they have those enemy, those monster parts that lead to making weapons and stuff. And there appears to be different types. There's probably fire, ice, thunder, and like a regular or a malice edition. So that's very interesting. To our next image, we see this is either Ganondorf. I hesitate to say it's Ganondorf because it's just because the eyeballs, right? You know, make you think it's maybe Ganondorf in the zombie mode. But then we're not seeing any of the ornate stuff. But this might be what's underneath all the hair and the ornate stuff. This will also be a Redead potentially as well. But maybe we'll find out on future pages here. Going to the next one here, we see, oh, look, she's back in the game and she's got some that's a really interesting item. I have no idea what that is. You guys let me know what you think that is down in the comments below. Next up, we have a very interesting looking boat. This boat reminds me of the Wind Waker. I'm just throwing it out there. This heavily reminds me of the boat in Wind Waker. You have the entrance to go into the captain's quarters and go to the basement. You have the ladder to climb all the way up to the mast. You even have the thing in the middle here. I don't know. I could be crazy, but this is giving me some Wind Waker vibes. But I could be wrong. I have no idea. Obviously, it's got the spikes and everything that were not on the Wind Waker boat, or Tetra's boat. But I'm just throwing out there that kind of gives me those vibes just a little bit. Just a little bit. Next up, we see another massive sky island that appears to have an entrance, a cave entrance, or something that could potentially be another dungeon. And we're also seeing what looks like a dead tree with roots everywhere. I really hope that this isn't like the Great Deku tree and he's dead. And now, like, these are the roots that are... that would be quite sad. I have no idea. I'm just theorizing. I'm not sure that's the case. We also see a platform that you could take off from. I'm not really sure. This obviously used to be a bridge or something when it was on the ground. I don't know. It looks crazy. Also, this thing way in the background that looks very... This looks like man-made or highly made or like intentionally made. This doesn't look like a normal island back there. I'm not sure what that is. That looks crazy. Next up we have, it looks like, if this is Link, I think this is Link wearing a new costume of sorts. Yeah, it definitely looks like Link because they got a picture of him over here on the side. I'm not really sure what this headdress with the long hair and all this stuff means. Again, He's looking very much, I don't know, Rito-esque. I see, you can see like the mask up here. That's like the owl type. We've seen this in other Zelda games before, but it looks really, really cool. And I can't wait to put this on and find out what the purpose of that costume is. Besides maybe some warmth, but then his arms aren't covered up, so I'm not really sure. But that's pretty interesting. Next up, we see yet another, I'm assuming a new enemy or a new lizard type that we can collect. It's got these rocks, rubies and stuff jutting out the back. Seems to be Goron related because we see the Goron stuff over here on the paraglider. So very interesting. Could be a new enemy or something over in the Goron section of the game. Next up, we see Link in more of a tribal gear. I feel like we've seen something similar to this, but not exactly the same. Like we see how one arm is as normal messed up, and then the other arm is wearing some sort of armor that looks like that arm's either messed up or it's just some armor to match this side. Does this give Link like godlike abilities? Are we looking at like an Amazon style god suit that gives Link the equal abilities in both arms? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just theorizing. This looks crazy. I still am in utter shock this stuff leaked out. Next up, we got this little dude. I don't know who he is. He's definitely a new character. I do not recall him in Breath of the Wild at all. With the top hat, looks like instruments, like violins and horns and stuff. So I don't know who he is. Maybe he's a shop guy, but I like his design. He's pretty funny. Next up, we have what looks like a amalgamation inside a room. I don't know if this is like Link's room or his house, or what we're looking at. We're seeing a bunch of stuff and references from Breath of the Wild and other Zelda games. So this could just be like a gathering or just an official art of Link's prior adventures leading to the current. Like this looks like one of those, right in the middle looks like one of those those Zora runes, right? That told you the history of the Zora. Anyways, going on to the next screen, we're seeing another place that looks like you bomb to open it, a cave or some type. So we've seen those in Breath of the Wild, but not obviously to a greater degree of going inside caves. We didn't do that a whole lot in the first game. Next up, we're seeing what looks to me, this to me is maybe the first indication of some sort of shrine and or dungeon. You guys remember in a lot of the shrines you would look up and they would just have like these long pillars with this like design that looked like it would sometimes go on forever. And this appears to be the case here, except with the swirls going on. So I would think this is a dungeon, a shrine, or some sort of temple. That's what that looks like to me. Again, hard to tell a lot just from looking at the top and with no ability to read text. This looks like another new character in the game. Looking very exciting there. I really like how, I think it's a she, how she's dressed. Looks really good. Next up, we have a closer look at that enemy that we've seen flying that Link has killed in prior trailers and was carrying a Bokoblin. Again, a lot of people thinking this is like a Kargarok or something. Maybe this confirms it, maybe it doesn't, because again, we can't read the text. Next up, we see another new character. Very interested to see who this is. Gives me a smidge of Telma vibes, but not quite. I'm very interested to see who this character is. Like how she's dressed. Next up, we're seeing what looks like a new area that is probably on the ground in Hyrule. I don't know what it is. There's like a gazebo going on that looks like it's maybe rebuilt or put back. It looks like in pristine condition. I don't know if this is someone's house. This is around. I have no idea. Maybe people can figure out by the background trees exactly where this is in the game, but it's an art piece. But I wouldn't be surprised if that art piece is representative of a location in the game. Next up, we have another seemingly Sky Island crazy thing going on. Spirals. I don't know what that rock at the top is for, but we know spirals are sort of a theme in Tears of the Kingdom so far. So I'm very curious if that's another temple or dungeon or something crazy. Next up, we see more of that crazy headdress design, except this time it's attached to... Is this a new race? Is that a new race? Or is that the Twilight? I'm confused with the darker skin and the markings. I don't know who this is. It's giving me a little bit of Twilight, Twilly, whatever you want to say vibes. But then again, it could be a completely... an art piece, but I wouldn't be surprised if that art piece is representative of a location in the game. Next up, we have another seemingly Sky Island temple dress design, except this time. Next up, we see more of that crazy headdress design, except this time it's attached to... Is this a new race? Is that a new race? Or is that the Twilight? I'm confused with the darker skin and the markings. I don't know who this is. It's giving me a little bit of Twilly, whatever you want to say vibes. But then again, it could be a completely new race. I have no idea. That's crazy. Next up, we see a closer look at the air balloon that we saw in the trailer and how that works, the heat source, etc. So that looks very interesting. Again, we saw that in the trailer, but this will be a close-up of all the pieces probably needed to put the thing together, if it's something that we do end up custom crafting. Here's another look at that newish race and or god. This could be that god type person. In fact, this definitely from this angle looks exactly like the paintings that we saw. So is this a race or is this a god? What is this? I have no idea, but it looks brand new. It's something I've never seen in Zelda before, I can tell you that. Next up we see a look, maybe this is a look at that ship. Yeah, this definitely doesn't look like the Majora ship anymore, or the Wind Waker ship from this angle. Obviously, we didn't think it really was because of the spikes and stuff we saw before, but this looks really awesome. I don't know if we get to fight this out in the ocean or if this is a sky ship. I have no idea, but I'm really excited to check out this enemy ship. Next up, we see, this looks like a puzzle. This definitely looks like a puzzle, a dungeon and or shrine puzzle. Definitely something related to that is what it looks like, because you can see the ceiling in the background as well. That looks really cool. Next up we see Link in yet another costume. I'm not sure what this one is, but this one, you guys tell me what this one looks like. I've got some major spoiler thoughts on what this costume looks like. It reminds me of something extremely specific from a prior Zelda game, but I'll let you guys speculate on that. Man, that's really exciting, actually. Next up, we see, hey, Rito. I forgot who the name of this character is, but they're back. I'm pretty sure they're from the original Breath of the Wild. Next up, we have a look at, looks like the Keys are back. It looks like those eyeballs that we attached to the arrows maybe came from the Keys. And we're seeing all the different types of Keys again. Next up, we're seeing another close-up look at some of what looks like some armor that Link has, because you can see his messed up arms, so that it clearly looks like it's to be Link. And then a bear design on the paraglider. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, that's interesting. Next up, we see... Is this like a Rito? Is it someone wearing a mask? Is this a costume? It looks like someone who delivers mail. So it looks like a mail courier like we had in the Wind Waker. But except like the mask is a beak. It's a beak mask. I'm really confused why they're trying to look like a different creature than they actually are, if that's just a mask. But then we see one without the stuff on and that's not a mask. I'm really confused. Maybe they're just showing off the helmet. I don't know. But then the eyes look bigger. Beats me, but this looks like some sort of mail carrier, new Rito or something going on. Next up we have this. This is interesting. This could be a boss, so a frog boss or something, or it could obviously just be a frog that we collect. But then we see a small key or a boss key. We're not sure which it is. So definitely showing that we have keys and stuff like that, something that is usually used in dungeons, and we did use them in the Divine Beast. So if you want confirmation of dungeons, seeing these keys, I think, would be a big confirmation. That's a potential boss, maybe. Next up, we see Princess Zelda's design that we've seen over and over, just from many, many different angles. Good to have a little bit of coverage of Princess Zelda. Next up, we see a new, looks like a new enemy type, again with that lotus flower on the shoulders and on top. Using some sort of energy. We see a shovel of sorts, new items, very interesting looking enemy. And our last image we have for right now is cheese. Of course, they're going to end it, the art book, with cheese. This is supposedly page 52 according to the details on the thing. Maybe it's 52 pages long, but like the first page is just like a table of contents or something. I don't know, guys. This is pretty amazing. I still can't believe this stuff leaked out here. This was an extremely long...
Hello there, Commonwealth from here. This time together with Nintendo Black Crisis, and he is here for a good reason as we're diving deep into the new gameplay of Tears of the Kingdom, looking at the combinations of combat, puzzle solving, methods of traversal, and the key to all Zelda games, exploration, or more specifically, discoveries. Though there appears to be a new element tied to the four staples of modern Zelda gameplay, crafting and vehicle building, which will be covered on Nintendo Black Crisis.